What's up guys, this is Shan and welcome back to the iherng podcast, and today we will answer a question from email. This is from YX. Hi iherng, thank you for your passion in sharing lots of property knowledge with us. You make people like me feel it's possible to make property investment despite noises outside telling me that it's not possible to cover installment and property prices are dropping in KL. I am a 30 years old single female earning 10,000 gross, which is approximately 8,000 net per month from my full-time job. I also run a sole proprietorship providing marketing services with declared income of about 5,000 per month. In addition, I have about 8,000 per month from side income declared under another name. Ooh, kaya. I currently own 1. A double-story house, landed house in SS2, own stay, with a shared loan with my sister. My portion of the monthly installment is about 1,006. A second double-story landed property near Batu Tiga KTM, purchased at 560,000 under AIA loan. I have 200,000 to 300,000 in cash savings, and now I'm considering a third property. I understand that I still have one remaining 90% loan quota. My current thoughts are: number 1, to use cash to purchase subsale or lelong properties with just 10% down payment as the last 90% quota. However, my concern is that my cash may be largely utilized after acquiring 1 or 2 more properties. Alternatively, to save cash for LTV 70 on third property bank loan quota afterwards. I would appreciate your thoughts on whether a lelong, a subsale, a bulk purchase or new condo or retail with commercial lots would be the most suitable strategy given my income structure, existing commitments and available cash. I have also prepared some scenario property analysis that made me quite confused. Or should I really explore and understand more from the bulk purchase market? What's also your thought on capital gain investment game? For example, there's one project called Farah by Far Capital. Thank you very much. Then let's see the PDF. Wow, got Excel sheet on it. Wow, this is nice. So it states here that the transacted price for the first property bought in July 2019. Then the second one is bought via auction. Current market valuation is already 700,000. Bought at 2025 actually. She also checked with agent. People want to buy at 620,000. So solid buy leh. And now for her consideration, she went through New Suites, La Ville Residency, M Vertica, KL48, Arte Star, Emerald 9, also a Far Capital project. And she even put up very nicely like the completion date, the cash upfront required, the renovation, the pros and the cons. Solid, you are like that perfect student that I could have ever asked for. But okay, so let's get to the questions, okay? What's great is with your 8,000 income, you got side income, also a business income. That is very, very good. And that is something that I think is not emphasized enough in the channel. We always think that property, like we always talk about property, it's not really to make us rich, it's to keep us rich. Therefore, the active income portion of the equation, right, we just didn't discuss enough because weird lah, until today in 2026, right, it's still very, very rude to tell you, hey, you need to earn more money. Ultimately, to play this property game, we will need money whether you like it or not. Plus, it has always been a game for the rich. First, a lot of people thought, oh, I don't need money, mama. You will need income statements to qualify for loans. So whether you like it or not, you need money. You have money or not are separate different issues, which is what we're going to talk about later. Now she has 2 properties. One staying herself, one is a landed property. But one thing to highlight here, a lot of people really, I thought she got 2 residential property already. Why she still get one more slot of 90%? So I've discussed this a lot of times throughout the podcast already. If you're new here, welcome. AIA loan, technically it's not under secrets. It means if you take home loan from AIA, it will not appear under your secrets. Of course, there are pros and cons to it. The cons will be the interest will be higher. Well, it depends on when you sign the deal because it's at a fixed rate. Then you will need to buy insurance directly from them. Technically, that's how they make money lah. But the main thing why we want to sign with AIA is because we get the extra 90% slot. Imagine you can buy up to 4 or 5 or 6 different properties all under AIA loan. You are still clean in your secrets. I didn't set the rules. A lot of people like, huh? How does this even make sense? Why? House what? Residential property ma? I don't know. That's the beautiful part about Malaysia lah. So a lot of people who are having concerns about, hey bro, I'm going for my third property already. At maximum, I can take 70% loan. So even if I have 10% discount to pay up 20% during down payment, I will die. How to build some more, bro? One of the method is to maximize on AIA loan, which means you can either refinance one of your earlier portfolios, one of your earlier properties you somewhat hold for a while already, you can refinance it under AIA. That's one way. The other way is when you buy the next property, you can actually just apply directly from AIA. Personally, I've worked with one lady, her name is Miss Catherine. She's very aggressive, that's why I really like her. She gets things done really, really fast. She's very experienced. I will just put her contact down below. She's my AIA to go person basically. Then back to YX, I have 2 to 300,000 in cash saving and I'm now considering a third property. Okay, but your third, no issue because you still get 90% loan. The concern is not the third. The concern is the 70% loan, but you got no such issue. Then, 2 ways. One is to use the cash to buy subsale or lelong. The other one is to actually go for LTV 70 friendly properties lah. To think back, the strategy has always been to use as little of our money as possible when we want to buy properties. Since we are in property investment already, right? Let's just embrace the whole concept of building wealth using debt. Until now, people are still very worried about, hey Sean, I owe the bank a lot of money. How? I'm not very comfortable. Then maybe property investment is not really for you. Let's stick with just 2 lah. As long as you maximize both of your 90% slots for residential properties, I think it's a solid one already. But just for revision, for those who are still new or blur about this, there's 4 main buying channels in Malaysia to buy properties: new, subsale, auction, bulk purchase. Personally, I have no preference. My goal is to secure the best deal in the market possible. So if subsale is better, I buy subsale. So if bulk purchase is better, I buy bulk purchase. That's for theory discussion's sake, right? At one moment, when the project just got handed over, just finished completion, there will be chances where you have 4 different buying channels for the same project. It means there are still unsold units, so developer is still selling. At the same time, owner get their keys already. So there will be people who's willing to sell. That will be the subsale already. Then some receive the keys and also get ping letter already. They couldn't make ends meet. Kena auction, lelong. And because you still have unsold units, the developer might work with property investment clubs or bulk purchasers, and people like us get access to it via that route. Which one better? I don't know. You gotta look at particular deals at what price along with the marketing package lah. A more relevant discussion for YX then, I'm okay with both using cash or using credit. In my opinion, that's the second element within the list to consider. Number 1, the property needs to make sense first. That's why within these 4 property buying channels, the debate will be, if you buy direct from the property developer, you get all the marketing perks, you get all the discount, the MOT, the SPA, the stamping whatsoever, the cabinet, all that lah, right? Would you pick this or would you pick a subsale that's willing to let go 15% below the SPA price? Because technically that's the price that they got also lah. But on the subsale side, you need to put up more cash. Which one then would you pick? The new one or the subsale? If you buy the new, if you include discount, then sometimes you will have cash back and you don't have to pay anything upfront. You still need to pay renovation fee. But then for subsale, you need to pay down payment. You will still need to pay all the legal fees and you need to pay for your own renovation as well. This highlights an element that's very important during property investment. Every time I ask people, sometimes people got offended by it, right? Do you have money or not? When you ask me about property investment, the main goal is not to really belittle or to test water or whatsoever, because if you got a lot of money, you can use that to your advantage. If you got no money, there are ways to go about it to start your investment journey as well. If I got 1 million lying there, nothing to do, why I want to take so much loan? Why do I want to pay more interest, right? That would be the common thought for everybody lah. But again, for us, I will never settle any loan under my name. Even if I got money lying around, nothing to do, I will do something with that money and I will still use credit to acquire properties. If not, when I buy the next property, I still need to apply for loan one mah. So between the new and the subsale one, the key contributing element then will be the rental rates, which ties back to the intention of the property lah. If you are buying for own stay, then you see which unit is available within your liking. Okay, like the subsale one you really like because that particular view memang on you lah. The view is excellent lah. Then whatever leftover units by the developer is all the certain block that you don't like. Then too bad lah, you will just pick whatever that you like. That's for own stay. If for investment, then what's the rental returns? If you buy subsale, because you put in a lot more down payment, that's why you can break even. That's why you got positive cash flow every month, like maybe 500. If you buy directly from the developer, because the loan amount will be higher, therefore you just merely break even every single month. Which one would you pick then? If we tie back to the principle, I will go new. It means I want to use as little of my money as possible to gain ownership of the property, to let it operate. And with that extra cash on hand, I get to focus on the makeover of the unit because that is ultimately the key differentiating factor for the market. Because if subsale, right, you gotta have really substantial 10% plus 8% processing fee and miscellaneous, then another 50 to 80,000 just to furnish the unit. And in this case, right, just to think about it, 2 to 300,000 like that. Can sleep or not? A lot of people, after having 6 figures, 7 figures in the bank every night, right, suddenly when you reduce 1 digit from that amount, cannot sleep already one. That is why within the community, a lot of people choose to go to the bulk purchase route instead. Why? When we meet desperate developers, they really have no alternatives on exceeding their projects really. They will work with property investment clubs, and that's where we get discounts from it. So this is where it gets interesting. Just to complicate the issue a little bit more, new, subsale and bulk purchase. If the bulk purchase now, you can get 20% discount. Instead of the 10, that standard 10 from the developer, now you get extra 10 from it. I will take the bulk purchase. Why? Again, back to the principle, to use as little of our money as possible. I really don't want to use my own money. Even if I don't really need that much, let's say if the property is about 1 million, I get 20 to 30% discount, right? After furnishing and I still have the extras, I don't need the money, I can just put back into the housing loan to knock off the interest. So that will serve somewhat as a credit line for emergency if I really need money in the future, especially when I'm single without families. Then in my opinion, since you have joined Far Capital as a member, right, my suggestion is to really use their services. Now they have a dedicated success manager, a person to really tell you what to do based on your profile. Listen to that first, listen to their analytics, listen to their recommendations first, then only you start comparing. Because if you were to go out, like going for all the new projects and going for all the subsale one, right? Technically, the level of access to deals are the same compared to everyone else. But since we are in the community already, we get special access to deals. So in terms of numbers, in terms of comparisons, I'm a little bit more biased to the bulk purchase deals. And that's mainly because of their research work, the level of research work that they are doing. So after doing all the groundwork, then after all the negotiation, they have to be the lowest price in the market. They even tell you the strategy, whether is it a long term, is it a short term, you want to go room by room. They even have a panel of renovators to help you. All these are done up for everyone who signed up. So why not make full use of this first? Because technically, I would argue you are very, very lucky when you got the auction properties. I am serious. Because out of 10 auction units that I've heard, right, 1 or 2 got problem one. That's why for auction properties, right, if it's your first, may I suggest to step away, stay far away first, because there are just so many more complications within. But you just bought an individual title landed, so I think it's a little bit more simple if you buy high rises, right? Like the outstanding amount lah, the developer whether still around or not lah, or they bankrupt already lah, whether can you do transaction or not, what's the status of the strata title, is it still under master title, a lot of this kind of issue, right? And one small issue may just screw up the whole deal. And now it sounds a little bit more complicated already, right? But generally, I don't want to focus so much on which project to buy. I want to focus a little bit more on the channel of buying. The best case scenario for all property investors is if I were to get a property below the market price up to 20 to 30%, which allows me to have cash back, or I can cash out from the loan, and I can use portion of that to furnish the house so my unit can stand out and it will be appealing to the top 20% of the tenant pool, so I get all the quality tenants to a level where the rent can cover my installment and still have positive cash flow. Break even also never mind. And all these happen without touching my savings, without touching my other investment, and I can use that for my next property or for emergency or for other form of investments. That's the best case scenario. And this is pretty unique to your position right now because you have a sole proprietorship. You are also a single female. I don't know what's your relationship status and your belief towards marriage and relationship, but personally I think you will need the money just in case your business gets serious to a level, let's say, right, because now your business income and your other form of income is about 5,000 from the business, 8,000, that one we don't declare, one don't talk, right? But that 5,000, right? If that 5,000 business income goes up to 15, suddenly you have this conversation of yourself. If I'm doing this at the site and I'm earning almost double of my full-time job, but I pay more attention in my full-time job, still earning half of it, it's almost a no-brainer that may I suggest to focus your effort into the business instead. What will be the crucial factor then will be the amount of runway, aka savings, you have in the bank. So now let's say if your living expenses per month is about 4,000 and you have about 400,000 in your savings account, you will have absolute full confidence, quit your job, fire your boss and focus on the business instead. Because of that savings, then it allows you to build the business that you want, to have the customers that you want, instead of fighting for sales just for survival and saying yes to every bloody request that you don't like. Then sooner or later, right, might as well just go back and work. And that will be my recommendation, because building businesses is still the main way to build wealth, because it's directly correlated to how much work and effort and energy you put into the business. But what's the worst thing that can happen if it doesn't work? Go back to your job lor. Sure got one man. But we are only 30 years old once, and in your position you are doing exceptionally well already. Yes, we have a lot of audiences who write in like they earn 30 over thousand, 40 over thousand. They want even more keng lah, right? But I think in your position, right, solid man. And I guess that's all for this episode. In conclusion, my suggestion, we just follow that ideal situation where we get to own self-sustaining properties with minimum amount of money of our own. Then we deploy the money that we have or the capital that we have into investments or businesses that we want to build. And within this framework, subsale is not really ideal already. Lelong also not really ideal. So it's only new and bulk purchase. New, everybody gets equal access. Everybody gets the same discount one. So how to be different from the rest? You already pay money for the membership of the Property Investment Club already. So may I suggest to fully utilize that instead. And here to fully utilize also means use their resources, use their research work, leverage on them. Then whatever time that you are spending on all this property research, right, is good. I'm not saying that it's not good, it's good. But you can cut down on that and build serious money from the business instead. And I won't be surprised you part-time also do 5,000, 8,000. Imagine full-time. And the whole conversation will change when you start to earn 20, 30,000, 50,000, 100,000 from the business itself monthly. Then you embark into a whole different journey where you need to start hiring lah, you need to convert into Shenyuan Berhad for tax purposes lah, then you will have questions about how to maximize tax and things like that. And I look forward for that portion of journey for you. So thank you very much YX for writing in. I know this sounds weird, but 2026 already, I still get very little female writing in about properties, but I do see it's a great improvement throughout this 8-year journey of YouTubing lah. For those who still have any questions regarding me, like I said, do just email me at taniherng@gmail.com, or you can just DM me on Instagram. I'll do my best to answer all of them at iherng, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Ciao.